In 2026, 88% of companies have integrated some sort of AI into their businesses. But behind closed doors, they are running into this massive, very expensive wall. And it is something what the data experts call data exhaustion. Here's the reality. So the high quality public data that you get out there to kind of train your normal AI models, let's say something that you scrape out of Reddit or Wikipedia or different public websites out there, it's done. It's kind of drying up, because if you want your internal AI agents to do well, companies have to feed their own unstructured, messy enterprise data into the models. And their current messy data pipelines are kind of breaking under pressure. And because of panic, the highest people in the industry right now are not the ones who are writing best prompts or are not the ones who are app developers, but they are actually data engineers, because they can fix the problem at source. But the landscape of data engineering is also like a total minefield right now. If you learn the wrong tools, you could be just learning something totally legacy, and it's possible that you've wasted hundreds of hours into learning something that can completely bottleneck your salary instead of growing. Today we are going to cover the 8 most talked about skills of data engineering, and we are going to rank them. We are going to see why companies care about those skills or why they don't. And we are going to rank them all the way from F tier, which is like a career-breaking skill that you should definitely avoid, all the way to S tier, which is completely elite set of skills that you can learn to be a really highly paid data engineer. And listen, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm not just going to tell you what to learn and then forget about it. I will be linking description with a lot of resources, GitHub repos, and tutorials that you can check out to learn those skills. And all of them are going to be 100% free. Hey everyone, for those who don't know, I'm Josh and I have about 7 years of industry experience in data and AI field right now, working at DoorDash, and previously I worked at Google. First, we're going to talk about legacy on-prem big data. This includes Hadoop or MapReduce or running distributed jobs in physical servers. A decade ago, Hadoop ecosystem was the undisputed king of the data world. If you knew Hadoop, you wrote your own ticket, but the industry has aggressively moved on. We live in a serverless, cloud-native world now. The only organizations rely heavily on this legacy tech are massive, slow-moving banks, ancient telecom companies, or legacy healthcare providers that are simply too terrified or highly regulated to migrate to the cloud. And that's why this goes straight into F tier. It's a career killer and it traps you into old technologies. Okay, next skill is containerization. We're going to talk about Docker and Kubernetes. Now, if you're a new data engineer, you might be thinking about, hey, why the hell do I need to learn Docker and Kubernetes to be a DE? Isn't that something that a DevOps engineer does or an infrastructure engineer does? To explain very simply, let's say you wrote a brilliant Python script that transforms all of your data, and that works really good on your Mac, but then put it on a server on cloud, and that has a completely different Linux distribution system, and it fails from the very beginning. The moment you start to download pip install requirements.txt, because those versions don't match. To avoid this problem, a lot of pipelines are hosted in a containerized ecosystem, something like a Docker or maybe an orchestration of different Docker pods, which is Kubernetes environment. Docker basically wraps your code into an isolated container that mirrors your local system. And that way you kind of know that your production is not going to break, because that's the same environment that you have used locally as well. Whether you're deploying, let's say, a job on an Airflow instance, or whether you're writing a small Python script, or maybe you're inferencing out of a machine learning model, all of those things are likely going to live in a Docker environment. But I will be putting this in B tier. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's incredibly powerful, mandatory skill, but it's in B tier because this is the operational baseline, and it might not be the most important skill in terms of your interview, and that's why it's a B, not A or S, but it is a skill that you will have to learn on your job once you become a data engineer. So I'm not going to put it below B for sure. Skill number 3, no code drag and drop ETL tools. There are some famous ones out there on this, like something like Informatica or Talent or even Azure Data Factory, and even AWS Glue ETL pipelines have some version of low code drag and drop features. So these are proprietary tools that just let you connect different components of your data pipeline with simple arrows, and then you can just drag and drop the columns that you want to join with one table with another table. And there are different nodes for this. So if you're a data analyst who just wants to pull some Salesforce data or Google Sheet data and want to do some quick like data aggregation or joining and just want to power a dashboard, yes, this is good. It kind of democratizes your data pipeline ability. I will be putting this in C tier. Let me explain why. Because companies do not pay premium salary for somebody who is restricted by a proprietary software's user interface, because there will be a complex requirement that the vendor of your no code or low code ETL pipeline will just not be able to meet. In that case, you just have to write your own custom pipelines and your custom scripts. And in 90% of the cases, it's not even part of any technical interviews. Yes, there are some companies who are specifically hiring for, let's say, ADF data engineers or talent data engineers. But trust me, those are not the companies that you want to aim for, because they kind of limit your career into one specific tool. And I would never recommend that. Now we're going to talk about advanced SQL and Python. These two are and have been one of the most foundational skills that every data engineer needs. This joins Docker in the B tier list. Now, before you start getting mad at me and saying, why the hell is this in B tier? Because you have been saying in all of your videos that these two are super important skills for data engineers, which is true. I mean, you cannot be a data engineer, in my opinion, if you don't know SQL and Python. But they are also not the skills that separate you. It's like the basic minimum requirement skills that every data engineer should have, but they will not pay you life-changing salaries. It is not something that differentiates a really good data engineer versus a mediocre data engineer. So I'm going to put them, even though they are foundational, into B tier. Okay, now we are going to talk about the cloud platforms. Again, just similar to SQL and Python, yes, this is a foundational skill, but in 2026, everybody can spin up an S3 bucket or maybe just spin up some compute like Redshift or BigQuery in different cloud platforms and then just do some analysis on top of it. That's not something that differentiates you. The real money-making skill is not about how to use the cloud. It's about cloud FinOps. That means how do you optimize your cloud cost? Because nowadays, we know that with all of these super expensive NVIDIA-based GPUs and really expensive Snowflake warehouses available out there, it's super easy to shoot your cloud bills so high that it costs your company millions of dollars every day. And for a lot of large-scale companies, millions of dollars every day is not even that big of an amount. So this is a solid A-tier skill. If you're a data engineer and then you join a company and you analyze their data warehouse and you figure out where their queries are slow or where their queries are reading a ton of data when it shouldn't, you implement the right partitioning, bucketing, you redesign with the right keys, you're basically paying back your salary sometimes 3 times or even up to 10x back. So they would love to hire those kind of data engineers who don't only know how to run things in cloud, but also know how to run things optimally in cloud. Now we're going to talk about distributed compute. So let's take an example. If you have a CSV of 100,000 rows, you write a good SQL query, you orchestrate it with Python, it works well in your machine. But what if it's a JSON file coming out of your web logs and it contains like 5 billion records? It will simply not fit on your computer and your RAM will choke and you won't be able to run your scripts at all. This is where you need distributed computing. Platforms like Spark allow you to take this massive data and then distribute it across different workers, sometimes dozens or even hundreds of workers, and then process your same logic parallelly. This joins cloud and FinOps in the tier A list. Okay, so officially we are slowly entering into the highest paid bracket. And this time we're going to talk about real-time analytics. That's Kafka and Flink. Yes, you could go with a cloud-native solution like AWS Kinesis or Google PubSub instead of Kafka. But if you learn Kafka, you're learning something open source that you can basically build on any cloud platform. Now, for the last decade, a lot of our data pipelines have been running on batches. But we are now entering the era of AI agents or fraudulent detection systems or really high throughput recommendation engines. For example, Uber cannot wait 24 hours to calculate surge pricing. A bank cannot wait 24 hours to realize your credit card was stolen. These systems need context in milliseconds. They are continuous, live, never-ending stream of data. This is our first S-tier skill. Real-time data processing is extremely difficult to learn, especially for beginners, and it's not something that I would recommend that every beginner should learn. And because it is hard to learn, very few data engineers actually take the time to master it. And because of this enterprise shortness, the high demand, and that's why it goes into the S tier list. Now we have one final skill to place, and this is kind of something that's been redefining our industry. It's AI infrastructure and vector databases. Now remember what I said about the data exhaustion in the beginning of the video, that 80% of the knowledge that's needed to make AI systems function, they are stored in a messy way, probably in unstructured PDFs or maybe Zoom recording transcripts or your very weird company wikis that nobody has updated for a long time. It could also be in simply your customer chat logs or maybe your internal company's chat logs, something like historical Slack messages. So these things are highly unstructured. It's not possible to store them in a SQL database. And even if you do store them in a NoSQL database, it's not possible for you to search using a normal language from that SQL or NoSQL database. So that's where you need to learn vector databases. They allow you to store different types of information. They vectorize all the information into embeddings, and then embeddings contain the meaning of words. And that's how you power your AI agents or AI workflows using RAG or agentic RAG. This is the ultimate STR. If you master this, you're not just a data engineer anymore. You are kind of like an AI infrastructure engineer. If you don't know, in past couple of years, I've spent a lot of time improving the accuracy of AI agents at DoorDash. There's a public blog that you can read as well. I'm going to link it in the description if you're interested, and it contains what exactly we have been doing, specifically my team in DoorDash. But the thing is, every time we talk about increasing the accuracy of AI systems, it always boils down to the source data that we feed into it. Most of the times it's about building better vector collections that automatically gives you better responses instead of fine-tuning an agent or playing around with different parameters of your AI inference models. And because this specific AI infrastructure skill is really important, I've created a complete end-to-end roadmap about how to become an AI engineer from scratch. And that's about it. We have ranked all the skills starting with F tier all the way to S tier. And that's just my personal opinion. I've covered 8 most talked about skills in this video. Let me know if you disagree with me or if you agree with me in the comment section below. Did I miss any important skill that you would like me to consider for next video? And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. That's it from my side. See you next time.